Hello everyone, welcome to Cornflower Crafts. I'm Corn, and today I'm going to be working on a mini gnome that I did some before Christmas, my first ones ever. I did some with just using polyfill and turned those into ornaments, and then I did some with the bodies being cork. And with the project I've been working on for a lovely young lady, she loves gnomes like I do, and I thought, I know she has created a larger gnome, and so I thought she might get a kick out of creating a mini. So the thing is, as you all know, I can say this is what I do, which means you do, your thing, but this is just me showing you what I do, and you can get hopefully a few ideas from this. And I am sending her, I'm making her one, and then I am sending her one. She loves the color blue, and I am sending her one to do herself. And I thought maybe I should do the basics here on videos so that she can see me do it, even though I have written, step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Because sometimes, as you all know, it's nice to have it in writing, but it's also kind of fun to see. So without further ado, I shall start. First off, she loves also baby pink, so that's why I'm doing this one in here. This is a finger from a glove, and if you think that that looks like it's inside out, I agree with you, but this is how those gloves were made. I know. So this is the one that's going to her. I'm doing it in stages so you all can see. Like I said, this is for her to put together. Again, this is one of the longer, one of the longer fingers cut off from a glove. And what I do, see, I think that looks like that's the right side, but so what I do is I take this down some, and then I want to, it has a little seam here and right in the middle there. So I turn this upside down and then put the seam across it. And it's just a matter of kind of pulling it down until, see, that seam is right across the middle. Okay. Now we have lots of room up here where some people just go ahead and, use it like this, and that makes a very sweet, tiny little mini gnome. But I learned, and I can show you how I learned from making mine that, okay, here's this one, there's the seam. Here's the one I made. This little boy stays in my living room, and watch, okay? Boink. He stays in my living room, but he's propped up against a hand-painted plate. So let's try it again. Will it? Nope. And yes, I do have a very tall hat on him, but I kind of like it. So anyway, so he is propped up over here. I don't know if he is in frame, but he's propped up over there. So after I do that, for the longer ones, like I said, you don't have to put anything in there at all, but I want to weight it. I want some weight in there. So a lot of times you see me, the poly beads, I think. I have some of those. I use them sparingly, but I don't think they would give this much weight. But see, that's standing up by itself. Interesting. But I still wanted to give it some weight. You can put either one, or this being taller, you can also put 2, depending on how much room you have, really. So with this, I thought I would go ahead and do 2. And what I do, y'all have seen me do this before, is I just add some hot glue here, make sure I messed up before. That's how you learn, by messing up in it. Make sure they're aligned as best you can. You know, they're not perfectly the same, so align them the best you can. And then what I do is then I go ahead and glue them onto the cork. And again, try to align everything as best you can. And then I pull this up. And you can see when you cut them, the gloves, of course, they're going to fray big time, which is what this one's doing. Then we make sure that that's not going to move around on me. Okay. Then I go ahead and I gather these, the leftover glove, the leftover gloves up here. And I have these teeny tiny little clear rubber bands from the Dollar Tree. The gloves from the Dollar Tree as well, by the way. And that gets wrapped around and around and around. Okay. Alrighty. And what I do next is I take some baker's twine, and, well, that was interesting. I just made a knot. Take some baker's twine, and because your rubber band may fail over time, if you do this, then you don't have to worry about it. And it may not fail over time, but if you've ever done anything similar to this, yeah, you've got a good chance of it failing. So I not only knot it in the front, but I also knot it in the back. Just to, you know, I'm one of those better safe than sorry. Okay? And this is just a baker's twine. And then I go ahead and cut these off. Now, one thing I did the last time when I was working on this one, I then, on the inside of this, I put a little hot glue, and I still might do that, and pulled them together. You know, it's just a, like I said, it's just a safe thing. But I'm not going to overdo it, because I'm going to end up cutting some of this too. So, because I go ahead and fill my hats with the polyfill, and I didn't want to leave a center section that large. You know what I mean? Okay. So these are all nice and together. Now I'll cut them off. Okay, here's one pair. You know how we crafters are. We've got about 5 pairs of scissors we like for each different thing. Okay. So, and see, they're still together. But we've gotten rid of a little bit of that top. So, oh man. Stand, baby. There. Okay. Whew. I included in her gnome situation, I included 2 of the rubber bands because, as you all know yourselves, sometimes they break on you. So we've come this far, which is very similar to this. I think the next step I thought would be to decorate the bottom, and I did that with the baby pink rickrack. And you can put this on with your hot glue gun. You can put it on with your Fabrifix or your Fabri-Tac. There's other fabric glues maybe you like better, and then you can just place it on with that. The next for me, I already cut the beards, hers and mine, to be honest. These ended up being little rectangles because they're so tiny. This one ended up being, I forget because I didn't do them today. This one ended up being just a tiny bit over an inch by 3/4 of an inch. And then I went ahead and I just rounded the 2 corners at the bottom. This pink faux fur, I'm pretty sure came from Joann's. Pretty sure. And as you see, it's long. It's not super long, but it's not short either. Okay? And that's going to go on the front like this, very close to the top. Very close to the top. Okay? And I have to make sure where my seam is because sometimes we know from the past, sometimes I'm like, oops. Okay. And that's my center. So sometimes what I do, I don't know if I can do it with this because I've got that hot glue in there. Yep, I can do it. I just mark them with pins where my center is, you know. So that is what I personally do next, is put a little hot glue on the top only first. Hopefully you can see what I'm doing. Okay, nice string there. And then place it on your glove finger here. And then if you're happy, which hopefully you will be, it's very round, so you need to push down. If you're happy with that, which I am, then I go ahead and flip it up and glue the base as well. Here's your sides and your base. Okay. And again, if you are not a fan of hot glue, you can sew this on actually, and which I have done in the past. And you can also place it on with your fabric, you know, your fabric glue as well, if you're not a fan of hot glue. So now we've got the beard on, and I'm going to, I forgot, I didn't show you how to do the hats, because again, the other hat that I have cut, let me see if you can even see these. Yeah. I'll show you real quick. This is her, well, you don't want that on it. This is her finger of the glove. Her cork, her hat is already cut. And what I do, these are felt, made out of felt, is I take the felt and, just for an example, and I go around, you know, to be like a rectangular piece of felt. And I go around, sometimes I measure with, you know, with the measuring tape, but a lot of times when they're this tiny, I just put it around, make sure I have enough space at the bottom for a little over a 1/4 inch seam, and then I take that, let's give you an example here. This is one of my scraps. Okay, let's do this. And yes, it's not matching, but it's, you know, you have it match, and then you just, let's say that's what would fit it. And so what you do is you take your scissors and you cut from here. I put a little, you'll see, instead of going straight up here to cut your triangle, everybody does it different, and I think that's cool. I go from here, and sometimes I put a little, you know, a little curve to it, which is what I did with this one. And what you'll see is, yep, a little curve. It does have a curve. Then I personally hand sew this. I just put one because it's so tiny. I can only put one of my pins in it to hold it. And then I hand sew it, and then I trim just the seam just at the end here, and then I turn it inside out, and then I put the polyfill in it. But I don't put the polyfill all the way down to here because we're going to need to go over the beard and over the nose, which is a flat back pearl that I put on these little tiny ones. I first tried this small one because I thought that would be cute, and I still might go that way. Well, it's a medium. Actually, it's not a small. And then I tried this larger one, and last night I thought the larger one looked better. Let me see what you guys think. You know, is that cuter? To have that nice large one? I think it's kind of cute. I kind of like that one better. So there's two ways you can do it. You can put your hot glue here and just attach it that way. But for me, I think I've mentioned before, I like the gem tack for the gems. And you can do one of two things. You can go ahead and in the middle, give them a little part, the beard a little part, and adhere it directly to the back of that faux fur. I'm having a hard time picking these up. Okay, like so. And then, you know, your beard will come down like this, which is what I usually do. I don't always do that. Sometimes, especially if it's the wooden one, sometimes I just adhere it straight to the beard. But if you do this, it has a nicer chance there. I go ahead and, this is the Gem Tack by Beacon. I got this off of Amazon. But I go ahead, since I have all these tiny little gems, and I used, and I put it in here. Sometimes it does get stuck. I have to stick a pin in it, but not today. Yay! And this does dry clear. And then we're going to put his little nose right there. And I will hold it down for a little while. This doesn't dry right away. It does dry pretty fast, but not right away. And that's why I go ahead and help it a little along. And I go ahead, I have like a little tray over there. I go ahead and hang this upside down because I use it so much. So much. Okay. So, see, and that's what it's going to look like. Next, it's time for your hat to go on. I think the larger nose looks cute this time. A lot of times I like petite noses, but he's a taller mini. See, he's got the petiter, the more petite nose. But he's more petite, you know. So I like that in him. So okay. So the neck, let me make sure we're not going to be moving this around. Okay, because that's something you don't want to happen when you put on the hot glue, you know. So when it comes to your hat going on, if you have seams in the back, which I have one right down there, you kind of want to match it up some, you know. And a lot of people will attach the back first and then the front. I've done both. I've done either or. Especially if I'm holding the back. Sometimes I can't do it because this is cork, but you can pin your back. I do that a lot when it's a stuffed you know, stuffed body. So what I do is I just hold it back there, and then I take the glue gun and I place the glue here and here. A little on the side too, but I want that over his nose. And I want that to stay over his nose like so. Okay? Hopefully y'all can see what I'm up to. Okay? We're kind of going down around it and waiting for that to dry a little bit. Because if we start messing with the rest of it, sometimes that comes up and you don't want that. To me, putting it over the nose is the most important part, you know, of dealing with the hat. Now, in the past, with decorating the hats, as you can see here, I actually put the lace on before I sewed it, so that the lace goes right into that seam. See, hopefully you can see that. But with some other ones, especially if I'm not decided what will be on the hat, how I will do it, this one is going to have this trim. Which was given to me by Trina from Trina's Place. And it's going to have that one because it has the baby pink and the white here for the body, and I thought that would look nice. Then it's going to have this little sweet applique on the top. And I'm not sure, but I will probably put a little ribbon for his tunic as well, or I might not. It just depends on if I like it the way it looks or not, to be honest. But I do have some more narrow baby pink lace that I'm thinking about doing with that. So that's how this one will look. But let me go ahead and put this down first. I just needed to talk to you all while it was drying. I just don't want anything, you know, to mess it up. So then you can tack it at certain places with your hot glue. Let's say maybe you want to do just a little section here. Then you want to do a little section here. Bring it down on this side. Just a little bit. Okay. And then just a little bit here. That's why I like this Sure Bonder detailer, because you can do it tiny minis with it, and you know, you'll be happy with the results. Okay. And I move that over a little bit. Don't do that. There. Okay. So here he is in the front. And like I said, this one will end up with those two pieces on it. What I do, but to save time, is I cut it, but a little bit long, not too long, and I put my Fabri-Tac on it, and I start at the seam here. I'm not going to do it for time-wise, but I start at the seam, go around, cut it this phrase like crazy, and I will put some of that. I'll make sure that I get enough on the end of that Fabri-Tac to seal it, and then seal it at the seam. Okay, so it'll have that. And then I also put this on with the Fabri-Tac. It's a matter of, where are my tweezers? There we go. Of holding it like so, getting my Fabri-Tac on each of these, and yes, believe it or not, on the leaves, and just placing it here, holding it down for a little bit to make sure, because you're going in a semicircle on the hat and going like so. And then that's how this baby is going to turn out, except with probably a lace or a ribbon sash. And then, in case you all are interested, for her, the one that she will be making, like I said, here is the blue. They didn't have a paler blue, I think, but she probably likes all colors of blue, but there's almost like a cobalt blue there. Then I have this blue for the felt hat. I have the white for the beard. I'm going to include some polyfill, polyfill, and I have this rickrack in case she wants to put that around the base of the cork. I always add extra because, you know, it's better to have too much instead of too little. Here's her twine. I had it all pretty. Now I just messed it up. Here's her twine for, you know, to tie around the rubber band. Here's her 2 rubber bands. Here's her 2 little glass pieces here to weight, or I call them glass weights. With her hat, if she wants to do lace around it in white, I've got that for her. And she says, okay, maybe I want that there because that's a darker blue to pick up the blue in the body. Or she might say, I don't want that. I want this trim for the darker blue. And I want this lighter ribbon rose to pick up the rickrack. Or, you know, she's got these. I can go on. And I also have her the white here. And I also have this darling little crocheted flower that you can get on Amazon. This one, all of mine came with a pink center. And all the center is embroidery floss that has a French knot. So that's what I did. I took the pink, cut the pink out because it's knotted really well. And then put the French knot in blue. And I think it's DMC. Is that it? The embroidery floss? If it's not, could you all please correct me in the comments below? And then I also gave her a nose. And her nose for him is what I used to call Hampton Art. Put these out. I think that they look vintage to me because they look like they've had vintage photo ink put on them. Because they're that gorgeous light brown, and so that's why I gave her this one for the nose. And so I thought that I would come on, and because when it comes to decorating, she has so many choices. She could even say, forget the rickrack completely, I'm doing lace, or maybe tie a sash with the, you know, it's there for her to pick and choose and do exactly what she wants, you know, because that's the glory of creating, isn't it? To do your own thing. But I thought I'd go ahead and do this so that she could see, not just read what I personally do. And this, when you have enough room to do the two glass bead baubles or whatever they're called. Glass pieces. Oh, wait a minute, glass gems. That's what they're called. It takes a while. And, you know, it's nice. It's very weighted, and I kind of like that. And you can also not only decorate here and here, but you could also put a tiny little pom-pom on the top. I've done that as well in white, which would pick up the body too. So there's tons of stuff what you can do, but that is just the basics. And I'd like to thank you all so much for joining me today. And I hope you have a wonderful morning, afternoon, or evening. Bye-bye, everybody. Take good care.